While life in Australia has become very hard, for decades, Australia has been synonymous with opportunity, a land of breathtaking landscapes, a strong economy, and a high quality of life. But is this still the case? Increasingly, Australians are finding their lives harder to navigate. What's behind this shift? In this video, we'll delve into the forces at play, exploring economic pressures, the soaring cost of housing, the impacts of climate change, and the growing mental health crisis. Join us as we uncover why life in Australia is becoming more difficult and what it means for its future. 1. Economic pressures. The cost of living crisis. Australia's cost of living crisis is impacting households nationwide, driven by rising inflation, stagnant wages, and escalating costs in housing, energy, and food. The Australian Bureau of Statistics (ABS) reported that inflation hit a 30-year high in 2023, exacerbating financial stress for many. Housing costs. Housing affordability is a critical issue, with rental prices increasing by up to 10% in major cities between 2022 and 2023. Sydney's median house price now exceeds $1.2 million, making homeownership unattainable for many. Rising interest rates have further burdened homeowners, with mortgage repayments up by approximately $700 per month compared to 2021. Utility bills. Energy costs have surged, with electricity bills rising 20% since 2021 due to global supply chain disruptions and investments in renewable energy. Gas prices have also increased, adding to household expenses. Food prices. Grocery costs have soared, with staples doubling in price due to labor shortages, supply chain disruptions, and extreme weather events. The 2023 floods in Queensland and New South Wales caused over $2 billion in agricultural losses, further driving up prices. Wage stagnation. Real wages have declined over the past 2 years, failing to keep pace with inflation. Low-income families are disproportionately affected, often relying on credit to cover basic needs, deepening financial inequality. Broader implications. The rising cost of living has societal impacts, including mental health challenges, reduced productivity, and slow economic growth. Addressing these issues requires comprehensive policies such as wage reform, financial relief, and investments in affordable housing. 2. Housing affordability. A crisis in shelter. Australia's housing affordability crisis has created significant stress, with a severe shortage of affordable housing contributing to financial distress and homelessness. Affordable housing and homelessness. The housing supply has failed to meet demand, especially in urban areas. 1 in 6 renters now spends over 30% of their income on housing, according to AHURI. Over 120,000 people experience homelessness nightly, with vulnerable groups like single parents and domestic violence survivors disproportionately affected. Escalating property prices. For buyers, soaring property prices and rising interest rates have made homeownership unattainable. Sydney's median house price exceeds $1.2 million, and Melbourne's is nearly $900,000. First-time buyers struggle with high deposits and rental costs. Policy challenges. Government schemes, like the National Rental Affordability Scheme (NRAS), have faced criticism for insufficient funding and poor coordination. Planning restrictions and limited social housing investment exacerbate the crisis. Vulnerable groups, single parents, young adults, and older renters face the greatest risks, struggling with housing insecurity, delayed milestones, and rising costs on fixed incomes. Solutions. Addressing the crisis requires social housing investment, build more affordable homes, rental assistance, expand programs for low-income renters, planning reforms, streamline zoning to boost housing development, targeted support, help vulnerable groups secure stable housing. Bold, coordinated action is essential to bridge the housing gap and reduce inequality. 3. Impact of climate change. Australia's susceptibility to extreme weather has worsened due to climate change, leading to economic, infrastructural, and social disruptions, as well as rising living costs. Escalating natural disasters. Bushfires. The 2019 to 2020 Black Summer fires burned over 18 million hectares, destroyed 3,000 homes, and killed 3 billion animals, costing over $10 billion. Floods. The 2022 Queensland and NSW floods caused $2 billion, agricultural losses and widespread destruction. Heat waves. Rising temperatures, with some regions hitting 50 degrees Celsius, have become the deadliest natural disaster, particularly affecting vulnerable populations. Rising insurance costs. More frequent disasters have led to a 40% increase in insurance premiums in high-risk areas, leaving some regions uninsurable and homeowners vulnerable. Impact on agriculture and food security. Climate change is damaging agriculture, with droughts and floods reducing crop yields, causing food prices to surge. For example, lettuce prices spiked to $12 per head in 2022 due to flood-related shortages. Broader economic and social impacts. The economic toll extends beyond disaster recovery, with strained government budgets and mental health issues in affected communities. Urgent need for action. Key solutions include resilient infrastructure, strengthen infrastructure to withstand extreme weather, support for farmers, provide financial resources and improve practices to adapt to climate change, sustainable practices, promote sustainable agriculture and energy use, community education, equip communities to better prepare for and recover from disasters. Urgent climate action is necessary to mitigate these impacts and ensure a resilient future for Australia. 4. Mental health challenges. Australia is facing a growing mental health crisis, driven by economic insecurity, housing stress, social isolation, and the ongoing effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prevalence of mental health conditions. 1 in 5 Australians experience a mental health condition each year, with anxiety, depression, and stress being the most common. Over 45% of Australians will experience a mental health disorder during their lifetime. Economic and housing stress. Economic pressures, including rising costs and job insecurity, are linked to increased anxiety and depression, particularly in low and middle-income households. Housing stress is a significant issue, with 74% of renters reporting negative impacts on their mental health due to unaffordable housing. Young Australians, a generation at risk. 40% of Australians aged 16 to 24 experience high levels of psychological distress, driven by academic pressures, job uncertainty, and social media influences. Many struggle with housing instability and unemployment, contributing to feelings of isolation and loneliness. Lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic's impact on mental health persists, with many feeling isolated and disconnected, particularly healthcare workers experiencing burnout and PTSD. Barriers to mental health support. Barriers such as long wait times, high costs, stigma, and limited services in rural areas prevent many from seeking help. Despite Medicare-subsidized mental health plans, high demand for services often leads to delays in care. Addressing the mental health crisis, key solutions include improved access to services, expanding mental health services, especially in rural areas, to ensure timely care, workplace support, promoting mental health awareness and support policies in workplaces, youth-focused programs, initiatives to address stressors like education and career uncertainty, community connections, encouraging local programs to reduce social isolation, increased funding, investing in mental health infrastructure, research, and workforce development. Addressing mental health challenges is essential for a resilient and supportive society. 5. Work-life balance. Achieving work-life balance, once a staple of modern life, is becoming increasingly difficult for many Australians. Financial pressures, changing job markets, and caregiving responsibilities have eroded the ability to maintain this balance. Longer hours and increased job insecurity. Over 25% of workers are in precarious or casual jobs, leading to instability in job security, access to benefits, and long-term financial stability. The rise of the gig economy offers flexibility for some, but brings instability for others, as gig workers often lack paid leave, superannuation, and a consistent income. Many professionals are expected to work overtime without compensation due to job market pressures and increased workloads. The impact on families. Childcare costs. Australia's high childcare expenses strain family finances. Families spend 18% of their income on childcare, much higher than the OECD average of 12%. This often forces one parent, typically women, to reduce their working hours or leave the workforce, creating long-term economic disadvantages. Time poverty. Parents, particularly those in dual-income households, struggle to balance work and caregiving responsibilities, leading to stress, burnout, and guilt over limited time with children. Erosion of personal time and well-being. The rise of remote work has blurred the lines between work and personal life, with employees feeling always on as work spills over into evenings and weekends. Mental health challenges. Constant work pressure without adequate rest increases anxiety, depression, and burnout. Physical health issues. Stress and sedentary work contribute to health problems such as heart disease, obesity, and musculoskeletal issues. Weakened social ties. The dominance of work over personal life weakens social relationships, leading to isolation and reduced community engagement. The role of gender inequality. Unequal domestic labor. Despite dual-income households, women continue to bear the majority of household and caregiving responsibilities. Women spend an average of 21 hours per week on unpaid domestic labor, compared to 13 hours for men. This second shift limits career opportunities for women and contributes to the overall imbalance in work-life dynamics. Solutions for restoring balance. Flexible work arrangements. Hybrid work models and flexible schedules can help employees balance work and personal life. Affordable childcare. Expanding subsidies and investing in affordable childcare can support both parents in the workforce without financial strain. Workplace culture shifts. Promoting a culture that values work-life balance and discourages overwork can improve satisfaction and productivity. Parental leave policies. Strengthening parental leave provisions and encouraging shared caregiving responsibilities can reduce gender disparities. Employee assistance programs. Providing mental health resources, wellness programs, and stress management training can support employee well-being. 6. Solutions and the way forward. While the challenges Australia faces are significant, they can be mitigated through strategic interventions at both the policy and community levels. The following solutions can help create a more equitable and sustainable future. 1. Government policy. Structural reforms for economic relief. The government's role is pivotal in addressing systemic challenges. Key initiatives include social housing investment. Increasing funding for social housing projects can provide stable, affordable shelter for low-income families, reducing homelessness and financial stress. Stricter rent control measures. Enforcing rent caps and increasing transparency in the rental market can prevent exploitative practices and make housing more affordable. Subsidies for renewable energy. Offering financial incentives for adopting solar panels, energy-efficient appliances, and other sustainable technologies can lower utility costs while promoting Australia's transition to a greener economy. 2. Community support. Strengthening local networks. Grassroots organizations and local initiatives are essential in addressing immediate needs and fostering a sense of community. Effective community-driven solutions include food banks and shelters. Expanding food security programs and emergency housing initiatives can provide immediate relief to individuals and families in crisis. Skill development workshops. Offering free or low-cost training programs can improve employability and financial stability. Local sustainability projects. Encouraging community gardens, renewable energy cooperatives, and resource-sharing networks can empower communities to become more self-reliant and resilient. 3. Mental health programs. Prioritizing emotional well-being. In light of the ongoing mental health crisis, increasing access to affordable mental health services is critical. Potential measures include public funding for mental health services. Expanding Medicare coverage for mental health consultations and treatments can make these services more accessible to Australians in need. School and workplace programs. Integrating mental health education and support into schools and workplaces can address issues early and reduce stigma. Crisis intervention hotlines. Strengthening 24/7 support services like Lifeline can offer critical assistance to those in immediate distress. 4. Sustainable practices. Building resilient communities. Promoting sustainability can mitigate the impacts of climate change while creating long-term benefits for communities. Important steps include sustainable agriculture. Encouraging practices like crop rotation, water conservation, and organic farming can enhance food security and reduce environmental damage. Urban planning. Designing cities with green spaces, energy-efficient infrastructure, and robust public transport systems can improve quality of life while reducing carbon footprints. Disaster preparedness. Investing in early warning systems and disaster response infrastructure can reduce the human and financial toll of extreme weather events. By leveraging these solutions, Australia can address its current challenges and pave the way for a more sustainable and equitable society. Collaboration between government bodies, communities, and individuals will be critical in driving this transformative journey forward. Final thoughts. Life in Australia has undoubtedly become harder for many, driven by economic pressures, housing and affordability, climate challenges, and mental health issues. While the road ahead is fraught with difficulties, collective efforts from the government, community, and individuals can pave the way for a more equitable and sustainable future. This analysis underscores the need for proactive measures to restore Australia's reputation as a land of opportunity and ensure a high quality of life for all its residents.